Legend ZA came out about 2 weeks ago now, and if you've played the game, you'll hear on repeat in the game about that awful event 5 years ago. That got me and many others thinking about the Pokemon timeline again. Obviously, they're trying to make it coherent, but it's also clear it's not just in release gear. First, some ground rules. Aside from Let's Go and Oras, I'm counting the remakes as the same as the base game. There's no timeline difference. Secondly, this is mainline games only. Just assume the spin-off games happened about the same time as whatever gen they're from. I'll also be referring to the years of the games take place as either BRB or ARB, before or after Red and Blue. And with that, let's get started. Starting with the oldest in the timeline, Legends Arceus. There's no direct reference in-game about the time period, but culturally, it seems to be taking place in the Meiji period of Japan, which is around mid to late 1800s. This was a time of Western ideas and people moving into Japan to improve Japanese society. Further evidence includes the camera, which was invented in 1839. This would place Legends Arceus about 150 BRB. The first 4 generations are really easy to place. Red and Blue are 0 RB. Gold and Silver are said to be 3 years after the first games, so 3 ARB. Ruby and Sapphire take place at the same time as Gen 1, and Diamond and Pearl take place at the same time as Gen 2, so 0 RB and 3 ARB respectively. Black and White take place a decent while after Gen 4, as evidenced by Caitlyn being significantly older. I'll get more into that in a bit, let's just place it here for now. Black 2 and White 2 take place 2 years after Black and White, and according to Bulbapedia, X and Y take place at the same time as Black 2 and White 2. In the concept art of Grimsley, yes, we're digging deep now, Sun, Moon, and the Ultra games are said to take place 2 years after Black 2 and White 2. As I said in the intro, Legend ZA takes place 5 years after X and Y, so that means it takes place 3 years after Sun and Moon. Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet's placements are a little tricky. Type Null's Sword Pokédex entry says it was created in the Galar region after top-secret research notes were stolen. This would place it after Sun and Moon, since only 3 Type Null existed at that time. In Scarlet and Violet, you can find Sonia's book that she wrote in the Academy's library, so that means Scarvi takes place after Sword and Shield. There are also several instances in ZA that reference Leon being the former champion of Galar. We also know that Scarvi has to take place about 2 years after Sword and Shield, because Penny was sent back to Galar for a year and a half, and she wasn't with her dad Peony in the Crown Tundra during Sword and Shield. Given all of that knowledge, I would place Sword and Shield 1 year after Sun and Moon, and Scarlet and Violet 3 years after, which would also mean ZA and Scarvi take place at the same time. Phew, okay, time to revisit Black and White. Porygon's Pokédex entry in Sun says it was created 20 years ago. And Illustrated Book of Pocket Monsters states that Porygon was created in 1995, so roughly 1 year before the first games take place. This would mean that Sun and Moon take place about 19 years after Gen 1. So, working backwards, Scarlet and Violet and ZA take place 22 ARB, Sword and Shield 20 ARB, Sun and Moon 19 ARB, Black 2, White 2, X and Y are 17 ARB, and Black and White take place 15 years after Red and Blue. That makes Red and Blue, the characters, between 29 and 30 years old when they appear in Sun and Moon, and Wally is an immortal godchild or something? I don't know. This would also mean there is a 12-year gap in the timeline where we don't know much about what happened. I still think the theorized quote-unquote mega timeline also exists, but that everything happened in the exact same way as the regular timeline aside from Red and Blue being replaced with the Let's Go games, and Ruby and Sapphire with Oryx. But, yeah, this is the Pokemon timeline. I feel pretty confident with how it turned out. Subscribe if you find things like this interesting, and thanks!